All right, guys, so one of the more cringier aspects of the Democrats' little show on January 6th was them coming out here and acting like they support the institution of police, acting like they are the party of law and order, when objectively, that's just not true, right? It's just not true, okay? And they went out of their way to try to virtue signal and put on a show to act like they care about police, right? I mean, one of the things they did was an actual vigil on January 6th.
God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Again, cringe fest. All around just cringe fest, right? But we have one particular politician that we got to talk about here. Democrat Jamie Raskins from Maryland, who came out and basically said that Republicans/conservatives only really back the blue when it comes to some racist police officer beating up a black person. Take a look.
Someone asked me what I'm going to do to observe and commemorate the insurrection. And, you know, we don't have a lot of experience with commemorating insurrections in American life. But I decided I'm going to observe the first anniversary of January 6th by celebrating the people who defended our lives and our democracy on January 6th. So could we hear it to begin with for Officer Gunnell and Officer Dunn and Officer Fanone? Can we hear it for Officer Hodges, who was stuck in that doorway for 10 or 15 minutes and then went back out to fight the hordes of fascist mobs that were raining down blows on our officers? Can we hear it for the cops who defended our democracy on January 6th? And where are all those phony defenders of law enforcement who only rear their ugly heads when some racist cop beats up an African-American citizen? We don't hear from them about January 6th, do we? We stand with the cops like we stand with the firefighters, like we stand with the teachers, like we stand with all public employees, the servants of the people.
Boy, such performative nonsense, man. I really don't understand how anybody with two brain cells can't see through the fakery from the Democrat Party, okay? All these politicians are fake, right? But especially Democrat politicians. They're the fakest, okay? But first, let's address the whole like fascism thing, because throughout this dude's speech, I didn't want to play all of it because it was, you know, whatever, right? He kept talking about fascism. And I'm like, you're calling Trump and the Republicans and GOP fascists, authoritarians, when you currently have a man in the White House that is trying to force a vaccine into people's arms, okay? You're sitting here telling me and talking to me about fascism, okay? You're sitting here talking to me about democracy and caring about democracy when your party for the last 4 or 5 years pushed a conspiracy that Trump was working with Putin to win the election in 2016, a false conspiracy theory that your party pushed, right? And people in your party are still pushing that in an attempt to undermine democracy, because that's exactly what you were doing. You were trying to paint Trump as an illegitimate president. That's what your party was doing. You tried to impeach Trump before the man even got into office because you never thought that he was legitimately president.
Know the truth. Donald Trump is the hoax perpetrated on the Americans by the Russians.
But again, keep talking to me about democracy, right? Please keep talking to me about it, because you guys are the ones to talk. So don't talk to me about democracy. Don't talk to me about fascism. And damn sure don't talk to me about backing the blue and supporting police.
Suck it up. Defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police.
Mayor Eric Garcetti saying, take some of the money from policing, about $150 million.
I applaud Eric Garcetti for doing what he's done.
Not only do we need to disinvest in police, but we need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
So yes, defund your butts. Defund you.
Yes, I support the reallocation of resources from NYPD.
We will be moving funding from the NYPD to youth initiatives and social services.
They are talking about reducing the allocation of resources to that department. And I think every single
city in this country ought to be thinking about the same thing.
Yes, I support the defund movement. I'm for responsible reallocation of resources.
And defund the police.
I think you do all those other things, you don't need all the money that's going in the police department. So yeah, I mean, the spirit of it, I do support that.
Yeah, and a lot of us were asked if we could imagine a future without police back in 2017 when we were running for office. And I answered yes to that question.
We are going to reduce funding in the police department and redirect that money.
There's no reason the police budget should just keep growing and growing and growing. They can make sensible cuts to police.
We propose to redirect over $7 million from the police bureau.
That our city, through our city administrative officer, identified $250 million in cuts.
Rashida Tlaib tweeting, "No more policing, incarceration, and militarization. It can't be reformed."
When they're saying defund the police, what are they saying? They're saying we want fundamental, basic change when it comes to policing. And they're right.
We are reallocating funds. The police department here in Minneapolis needs to be dismantled, and we need to start anew.
In some necessary cases, completely dismantling those police forces.
Police departments are taking a sizable amount of the budget of a lot of municipalities and other entities. We need to look at,
because the truth of the matter is that the Democrats only really support the police on January 6th because, one, they see those police as protecting them, right? The only police they care about are police that protect them, okay? And two, they're simply using the police as a political tool. They're using the police as a political tool to try to fight back against the assertion that the Democrats are for defund the police, when, again, half of their party is literally for defunding the police. Okay, and that has trickled down at the local levels of government, right? A lot of these cities ran by these, woke Democrats, these progressives, in which they have, to a certain extent, defunded their police officers or reduced the size of their force or reallocated funds to other goods and services from the police, right? That all comes because people in the Democrat Party were advocating to defund the police, right? Again, this is the same party that all throughout 2020 said that police was a corrupt institution. It was full of racist, bigoted cops, right? Police are racist, okay? And that police needed to be abolished, right? Police need to be abolished. But now all of a sudden, because of January 6th, oh yeah, we love police, right? Police are great. They're awesome. Right. And it's funny because this dude says, well, conservatives, they only back the blue when it comes to racist police beating up black folks. Well, I can say that Democrats only back the blue when it comes to police defending them. Right. Because they damn sure don't care about police defending anybody else's life. OK, the only lives they care about are their lives. OK, those are the only lives they care about. But it really is a damn shame to see these politicians come out here and to use these police officers as political tools. Okay. And here's the whole thing about the whole back the blue thing, because I think there's this misconception that, conservatives support police no matter what. Right. And I think that that's wrong. I don't think that conservatives support police no matter what. I think it's just that conservatives support the institution of policing. They generally support law and order. But if police do something wrong, then yeah, I mean, I think that most reasonable people are going to say, no, that's wrong, right? For example, when it comes to civil asset forfeiture, right? When some police just take people's property, right? Because they have suspicion that their money was used for drugs or whatever, right? They just take it, okay, without any due process or anything like that. Yeah, I think most people say that's wrong. I don't support the police when it comes to that, right? I think that most people don't really support the police when it comes to legitimate instances of police brutality or police killing somebody unjustly, okay? I think that you will find a lot of agreement in that area as long as the incident doesn't become racialized, right? Like what happened with George Floyd, okay? I think a lot of what happened with George Floyd is that the left took it too far. They racialized the incident and used it as a way to smear and denounce a whole group of people in this country, basically white people, right? To say they're all racist. Okay. And I think that that's what kind of turned a lot of people off from that movement. Right. But generally speaking, I think conservatives are supportive of police and the institution of law enforcement, but I don't think it's necessarily something that is absolute, right? That no matter what, people go back to blue in any situation. It's not necessarily true. Okay, and I can give you numerous examples, right? Like there's a lot of conservatives that are, you know, not happy with law enforcement about enforcing these mandates, right? There's a lot of conservatives not happy with law enforcement over that. But one thing I will say is that what conservatives don't do is use police as a political tool. Unlike the Democrats, who generally don't support police, who spent the last 2 years demonizing police, telling us how bad police are, and then one day out of the year, all of a sudden they love the police. One day out of the year, all of a sudden they love the police. But all other 364 days, they don't really like the police like that, right? The police is a corrupt institution. They're all racist. They're out here to kill black folks, and we got to defund / abolish it, right? Again, anybody that falls for this stuff and this nonsense, this performative nonsense from the Democrats, bruh, it's really beyond me. I don't understand how. I really don't understand how. But again, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.